Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah.
Paul Braps, and it's Tuesday, the day after Labor Day, September 3rd. We've been off for a second again.
Yeah.
We haven't had any consistency whatsoever here recently.
Not for about a month. I'm going to have to ask, talk to the owner down here.
Yeah, we'll have to blame Josh. Yeah, he's always busy and never around. This isn't easy. For those that don't know, like when you're working long hours every day like we do, and you got little kids at home, this is fucking difficult, man. Like running in here last minute, especially on a Tuesday evening, 6:30, 7 o'clock. It's not easy. I'm exhausted. It's hard to kind of want to come in, like, when you're just coming home from work and you haven't eaten, and you walk in real quick maybe to see your kids to change your clothes, and they're wanting to hang on you, and you got to leave.
Right.
Yeah, because Shama was saying, where are you going? You going to work? I said, no, I'm going to the podcast.
Right.
Then Pora's like, the podcast? We can't go to the podcast?
No, you can't go to podcast.
Oh, man. Today our guest is Jesse Denholm.
Jesse Denholm.
When I heard that we were having Jesse on, I was excited because, me and Jesse have some ties going way back to the early to mid 80s, I think it would have been. Yeah, I mean, it was way back. Yeah. It was way back in the 80s.
Right. Well, first of all, you've got ties with him and his brother Bill.
Yeah,
just
Bill.
In case anybody's listening, the Denholms.
Yeah, and I'm very disappointed Bill's not here. I love Bill Denholm. Bill, I think you had mentioned to me about some comments Jason Moore made about Bill. Jason was spot on. You know what's funny? We should have Jason Moore on the podcast because me and him see eye to eye on almost everything. I like it.
No, yeah. Jason's good people. I don't talk to. I mean, years it's been since I've spoke to him.
Jesse's a little younger than I am. I'll be 52 in March. So Bill was closer to my age. Jesse was more Ben's age, I think.
Now, who's youngest?
Ben,
you?
No, my brother Ben.
Okay.
And I remember Ben running around with you at church.
Right, yeah.
Did you guys come to the church with the Meeks?
Yes, we did, yeah.
It was a Scott Meeks family?
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember
awesome
it was
family.
Scott. Yeah. And I think we spent the night at the Meeks house one time. And me and Ben and Jesse and Bill. Did you guys live next door to them?
Directly, yeah.
Yeah. So real quick, let me say this. In my book, I talk about going through what I went through as a little kid in the hospital. I leave my house, I'm sick, I'm in a hospital, I fall asleep, I wake up and I'm not in my bed at home.
Right.
And I'm in a hospital. That caused me to be homesick going forward as a young man. I couldn't stay away from home without crying like a little fucking bitch. So we're at the Meeks house, and I didn't like it. It got late, and it was time to go sleep. So somehow, we made our way over to the Denholms. Me and Ben felt more comfortable with Jesse and Bill than we did with Scott and his people.
Right.
And I remember Bill's a badass. Always was. I haven't seen Bill in maybe
from birth.
Yes. He just, how he carried himself as a young kid, you could just tell he was him, right?
Even the pictures at that age, he's diesel.
Yes.
I don't know where it came from, but
yeah.
He was built like a gorilla.
Well, that night, he comforted me. Like, I remember him putting a blanket on me. Like, he could tell I was distressed. And Bill was comforting me in those moments. So if you don't know Bill Denholm, badass, but a big heart, big fucking heart, man. Good dude. I've always regretted not getting a chance to really grow up with you guys. We saw you at church a few times, right. But there was you guys were out in Springfield. Yep. We were in Barberton, so there was no connection. But me and Ben had a lot in common with you and your brother. You guys were wrestlers. We weren't.
Yeah.
But we were athletes.
I was thinking today, I was like, there was something special about you and your brother, and I can't quite place it, but I can remember. I mean, it's been 40 years, and it was like yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that church was a trip. Did you know that the pastor got in trouble for porn and some other stuff?
I think that might have come after the fact, but we didn't like going to church, but we were glad after the fact that our family, my dad, my mom made us go. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a foundation all kids need, and it stays with you. But no, there was, as you grow and you get older, you start to look back and you can
Shit's
understand.
all over the place.
Yeah, because when you're a little kid, you really don't know.
No.
You don't know what's going on in places like that. But yeah, there was a lot going on in that church. But one of the great things about us going to church as kids is we got to meet the Bill and Jesse Denholm.
Right. Because if you wasn't going to church, you'd probably never met him.
Never met him. So, anyways, Jesse, me and Paul have been talking recently about your wrestling past.
Right.
Okay, because you and Bill were both. You guys were athletes. Tough.
We were fighters.
Tough and fucking tough kids, man.
Yeah.
Like tough kids. Paul was telling me about. You can go. You can start off and ask him. Talk a little bit about what we were talking about and get this rolling.
Well, to get it started, kind of really, because I had, originally I talked to you, and I just got done talking to Beach probably a few days ago because because what we had spoke about outside, I played basketball like you or football. I didn't have anything to do with wrestling.
Right.
Just kind of stayed in your own groove, your own place, your own people, doing your own thing, and never really knew until Jesse and I spoke that Walsh in St. Ed's just dominated the 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
And he happened to be a part of it.
Right.
And I absolutely love MMA. I mean, I follow it. I love it. I like watching. I mean, him and I speak about it constantly. And then he started kind of sending me stuff about like Akron's wrestling clubs. I started watching it. He sent me, we'll call it a movie. I watched it. That was awesome.
That's being made now about the I think it's called the 10-Year War.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a documentary?
Documentary.
And when he had sent me that stuff and I started watching, I was just kind of taken back from it. Then you take in everything about how I met Jesse, where he came from. I didn't know him. And then we kind of find out that he knew Jason Moore. We had that conversation. Jason knew his brother Bill. Then come to find out after that conversation, they knew you. So at that point, it just starts to get interesting. Like there's so much here that's it's a good foundation. And then when he had told me about St. Ed's and how they dominated with, it was just, now I'm just interested.
Right.
And you happen to be a part of it.
Right. Actually, I've been a part of both Ed's program and Walsh's at some point.
Right. And I think now you're in a club that you have now, and you really want to bring that same energy back.
Well, it's there. It's already there. There's a club. It's called The Neighborhood. It's based out of Portage Lakes, Akron, Ohio, and it's a free club. And I think out of 24 kids, we had 12 guys place, which is phenomenal. I don't believe that's a percentage that somebody can match in a state. So.
Well, and at one point back in the 90s, you guys had that club that just dominated. You
North
guys
Akron,
you guys are just a tough.
Right. We're phenomenal. We were thieves. I mean, it was crazy.
Right.
Yeah, we'd show up to your place and we'd steal everything and then take the trophies and leave.
Yeah, because I think you had even said you guys would go to tournaments and go into back and then
start yanking out wallets, right.
That's just who they was.
Right.
I mean, that's just how it worked. But
People
back in the
hate us.
90s, it was just a different time.
Right.
I'd like to go back a little bit. So, Jesse, I don't know if Paul told you, this is all the Pressure Podcast, and we asked some intimate questions here, right?
Right.
Let me go back to community church again.
Right.
You and Bill coming up, if I remember correctly, your parents were in a broken relationship, which put you in a broken home. Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So my father was a distributor of a certain substance, and my mother, she was in and out of whatever she was doing and stuff. And so there was a period that until I was 8 that there wasn't a lot of structure. There was a lot of it was chaotic. Yeah, it was chaotic.
Yeah,
I guess would be a easier term.
I remember your mom being a good-looking woman.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Stunning. Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Denholm was her.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
I remember. Where did your journey, like you and Bill both? I want to talk about Bill as much as we can because his brother was a fucking badass. Like just good dude.
I tell Paul that without a doubt, if Bill would have been in training, and let's say 97, 98, 99, he would have been world champion
world class
at UFC or boxing.
Yeah.
Easily.
What started your guys' journey into wrestling? Because I would always say this, Paul. Guys like me and Paul were basketball players.
Right.
And we looked at the wrestlers and we were like, you guys can't chew gum and fucking dribble at the same time. That's why you're over there fucking wrestling. Right.
So
I know Kobe Fair Jr. is watching this. We're going to talk about Kobe too. I got some great things to say about Kobe. But Jesse, where did you guys start? Like, where did your journey start with that?
So my father used to party with Billy Barger, which was the coach there at Walsh.
Yeah.
And at a younger time. And so Billy was like, hey, why don't you bring out your kids? And so we were set up to go. And me and my brother got in a fight. He's got a knife up to my neck. And my mom walks in and she was like, fuck wrestling. You guys aren't doing shit. He's like, you guys need fucking help. So that ended the process for about 2 more years. And then I started to wrestle for North Akron when I was 11 years old.
Okay, and that was a club?
That was the club, right?
Club?
Right. Yeah. We so the 2 main clubs would be whatever fed St. Ed's, and then whatever fed Walsh, and we fed Walsh.
Okay.
Completely.
And you and Bill both took to wrestling, right?
Yeah,
he boxed at one point.
Nah, he did the tough man stuff. Yeah. Okay. I think he won the one in Warren, and he won the one in Canton, won the one in Akron, and something else.
What inspired you guys to want to be wrestlers per se? Because for like guys like me and Paul, we grew up wanting to play basketball, wanting to play football. Like, what took you? What made you gravitate towards wrestling itself?
So it was the only thing that we could do, that we could afford. I would assume that that's probably the honest answer, was that we could afford to do that, and some of these other sports, I mean, expensive. Yeah. So wrestling, I just needed a pair of fucking shoes, and I'm ready to go. So that's how we did it, and yeah.
Do you think maybe you and Bill both walked around with chips on your shoulders?
No, hell no. We were, we grew up fighting, but we grew up humble as shit. We were always the poorest sports kids. So, to grow up with that kind of, so we had to fight our way in, and we had to fight our way out, literally, at schools and so forth. Because we started off in the projects and made our way to wherever, Springfield. Right. But we generally had to fight. We'd be the only white kids, and we'd be the poorest kids in the neighborhood. Yeah. So there was always we were made fun of, and so we defended ourselves.
Right. Were your parents able to make it to your events? Like when you guys wrestled on a Saturday morning, were they able to come and watch?
Yeah, my stepdad, so my mother got married at when I was roughly 4, and this guy was a dirtball, and then he became a good dude, and he was my coach for about a decade, and phenomenal guy, but he'd take us to tournaments and wherever in PA and wherever else.
Yeah. Did you guys have that where you went with your real dad every other weekend? Did you have that?
So my real dad spent a lot of time in jail. He did over 7 years in the county. So just figure that. That's without commissary. That shit sucks. So.
And that's probably back when you were at a young age, right?
From probably, I stopped really seeing my dad when I was 10 till 18. So within that time, he'd spent 7 years in the county.
Do you think your dad having those issues and spending time in prison, do you think that made you and Bill walk around kind of about that with that chip on your shoulder where you were kind of mean and you wanted to prove shit to people that you belong?
I don't, I've never been the kind of guy that had a chip on my shoulder, you know what I mean? So did I have to prove myself? Yeah, that, motherfuckers want to play, then, that's just what happens. But I didn't go around looking for fights ever. I did once, and I got beat. And so after that, I never start another fight.
Yeah. But it's interesting because going back to Barberton, do you remember Dan Kogar?
Yes.
Kogar was one of the tough kids that ever came through Barberton. Kobe Farah Jr., who I just alluded to. You could say Kobe's arguably, pound for pound, the toughest kid to ever come out of Barberton. And when I say kid, I'm talking about all athletes.
For sure. He should have been a two-timer.
No question about it.
Easily.
The fact that he should be in the Barberton Sports Hall of Fame.
I was just about to say, is he in the Barberton Hall of Fame yet? Because we've had this conversation.
No, it's just ridiculous that he's not. But I'm telling you, he quietly, he's coming. Like, quietly, Kobe Farah Jr. is coming.
No, his chance is coming.
Yes.
I mean, and I'm not speaking because I know. I'm just, from what I've heard, I know they've, I don't know if it's ground or what he's doing, but I had just heard through some people that his fight is coming.
You know what's interesting is like Jesse's attitude, his demeanor, how he carries himself. Kobe's a lot like that. These guys don't talk a lot of mess. They're just that guy.
No, I got you.
And they don't have to talk it. They don't have to try to prove that to anybody. They're just that guy quietly.
Well, what gets me is because you could see the people, and I'll even say like me, like I've always had a chip on my shoulder. I was always that dude walking in knowing that there was probably going to be a problem somewhere and searching to find out where it was going to be.
And you were a Brapson. You were a husband. You were a husband.
Just looking for it. You know, I knew it was going to be there. But what's funny is because to be around Jesse, he's got a very calm demeanor.
Yes.
You can like. At what point did you know that you had that switch that could flip?
When I was 4.
Really? Like you could just go from like I'm just kind of laid back and somebody.
I'm in the hood and I'm looking around and I'm let's go. You know, I'm ready to fight whoever. I don't care if you're a color or whatever. You know, let's fight.
But you just knew you had that switch where I could go from just being.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Jesse. How much older is Bill than you?
Year and a half.
Okay, so did you walk around and ever say, "Do you know who my big brother is"?
Oh, I didn't have to. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Right.
Yeah. I mean, because, you know, when you're like, just like Ben's my younger brother, you always look up to your bigger brother.
Right. Yeah. That's what essentially propelled me throughout my entire life was, you know, I just want to be better than this son of a bitch because I can't beat him at anything. Not fucking basketball, not wrestling, nothing. I mean, is domination. So just give me an ounce of, you know, glory.
So we would say that Bill was probably better than you, but
by far.
He didn't end up with the accolades you ended up with.
No.
Yeah, so that's
so one thing that separated me and my brother was that I took it serious and I didn't party. You know, I trained seriously, and after January 1st, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke no weed, nothing. You know, so. And my brother was the kind of guy that liked to go out and have fun and the girls and so forth. So there was a little bit of difference in personality and goals. You know, he was good with just being amongst the best, and I just wanted to be as good as him. So, you know, it always propelled me forward.
So what propelled Bill to be the way he was?
Hey, my brother was, I don't know,
because you wake up in the morning and you see him and you're chasing him. What's he chasing?
So, you know, he was always that poor kid. You know what I mean? So he was always trying to find some maybe he didn't see his own value. You know, which was a big thing. Difference was that, you know, I saw value within myself, and he just. Maybe it was my parents that said, "Hey, you're a no good son of a bitch." I don't know, but he just never saw the value that he had. I was nowhere near the athlete that my brother was. Not even close.
When did he get into wrestling?
He started late. He started in junior high, so probably seventh grade. Okay. About the same grade.
I got you.
Yeah, Bill was one of those kids that, like, when he walked in the room, and I didn't see this as much with Jesse. Of course, Jesse was younger. But when Bill walked in the room, he had a presence about him where he just, it was like an aura. Like, he just, the way, and he was like Jesse alluded to, he was
my
put
brother
together.
is the ladies' man.
Yeah.
Really?
He was put together.
The Hurley boys, Michael, but beyond Mike, my brother's easily the only guy I've seen that's, women just love him.
Yeah.
Love him. I don't, you know.
Right. And you were standing on the outside going, I want to see what the big deal is. Like, hey, I'm standing here. What the problem?
I never got it, but I tell you what, he is one blessed man. I'll tell you.
Do you think that bothers Bill? I hate to be asking Jesse questions about Bill because I felt closer to Bill than Jesse.
Right.
Well, I'm assuming at some point.
Do you think Bill feels that he underachieved in the sports arena with wrestling?
I think he's cool with whatever he did. Okay, so let me tell you what ended my brother's career. He was in training for the Tough Man on FX stuff on TV.
Yeah.
And he won the first fight, second fight. So he won these tournaments, and then he's training against this white kid from wherever, Youngstown. And this dude's 140 pounds, 145, and my brother's about 185, 190. And this dude knocks Bill out, or down at least.
Yeah.
My brother was like, fuck. He's like, if I get beat by a 140-pound guy, how am I going to deal with a Tyson or something?
Yeah.
That guy went on to win 2 world titles. Wow. Kelly Pavlik from Youngstown.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
I saw Pavlik.
So that's what ended Bill's career prematurely. Kelly was a bad dude.
Yeah, Pavlik went on to grow though, right? He got bigger.
Right. I think he's up to 160. By the time
he got bigger.
was 60ish. 68 maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
World champ.
That's
for
crazy.
Sure. Well, looking back, that's not so bad now to lose to a guy like Pavlik.
Yeah, Pavlik turned around and walked in and said, fuck around and find out.
Well, no. Kelly come in, he was offering cash, and my brother, fuck you. I don't need no cash to fight and shit. So he takes it and he dropped him, right? He dropped him. But,
it's crazy.
Growing up as kids, me and the Brapsons, my brother Ben, all of us, we were always foul mouthed. We talked a lot of shit. We're cussing a lot.
Right.
You and Bill, I don't remember you guys talking so much. I don't remember you guys being very vocal in that sense. Did you get vocal as you grew older?
No, I don't. That's one thing that I wish I was a little better in is trash talking with friends, but to me, it's kind of a respect thing, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to make fun of another man for anything, you know what I mean? So, and even if it's not like that, it's uncomfortable for me to make fun of another man for anything. So,
wow,
I steer clear.
Well, Bill and Jesse could have been helped out by joining us in the hood as kids.
Right.
Believe me, you wouldn't have had that same attitude. As an adult, you wouldn't have had that same attitude.
That's great.
So real quick, because I'd like to touch base real quick on that club that you was in,
right?
And some of the people that you met, that you wrestled with, and some of the things that you guys did.
So at North Akron, again, we had no idea that we would end up being the #1 club in the nation. We were a bunch of kids from North Akron area. All of us had dysfunctional families. A parent was an alcoholic or an addict or something. Some people didn't have moms. Some people didn't have dads. So it was a bunch of troubled kids, that banded together under a banner of North Akron, and our leadership was men like Mick Hurley, Perry Renzi, and Billy Barger. Under their leadership, we, I don't know the numbers, but I think it's like 75 state titles. Come out of maybe a 5-year period, maybe 6-7 year period.
Dating back to the 90s?
Dating from that, yeah. So it would be from 88-ish. From 88 to, I don't even know, the 2000s, I guess, is Walsh. I don't know what the stats are for Walsh, but it was well over 15 years. Decade at least.
Yeah, because I think what was it? Walsh never lost to an Akron team for 15 years.
At least, yeah.
Never lost.
At least.
That's.
I don't know who would have beat him. You know what I mean? There's nobody at that era. So out of my class, I'll just run through a couple names. A lot of names. Clint Musser, who was a 3-time three-time state champ, NCAA runner-up. Johnny McGee, who was a 4-time state champ, junior college national champ. Jeff Knupp, who was a 3-time state champ, went to Penn State. Jimmy Johnson, 2-time state champ, went to Ohio State, Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Well, we can't claim Joey, but Joey O'Neal, we can't claim Joey. Joey went to Longwood, but and let's see who else. Mike Hurley, Ryan, his brother. Man, the list goes on.
To have those kinds of numbers and not winning, I mean, there had to be, once one left, somebody was coming behind them to replenishing.
We were so deep, it was silly. Yeah, like I never started at North Akron. I never saw I was always the bench. So that's testament to.
And you went to Kent, right?
What's that?
Didn't you go to Kent?
State?
Kent State?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's something to say that you didn't get to start on the Akron team, but yet you still went Division I.
Right.
I mean, that just goes to show you right there how deep you guys
Right.
were.
I don't think that I would have started. So back to the Walsh story. I decided to go to Walsh. I went to Springfield my freshman year. I didn't make it to state. So I transferred to Walsh. I was to start school on Monday. I got accepted on a Friday, and I go out to celebrate, and I get arrested. And so they have a zero tolerance policy. So I had to transfer back to Springfield, which is why I ended up finishing there. I think I missed out on 3-4 national titles.
It's crazy.
Right, yeah. Stupid. My biggest regret of my life.
All just because of one night because you got accepted?
Night. No, yeah. I went out and celebrated. And
Wow.
That's crazy.
Paul, for guys like us, our heroes, we're basketball players, football players.
Right.
Let me ask you this, Jesse. Growing up, you're a wrestler. You want to be a big-time wrestler. Did you find your heroes in professional wrestling, like the WWF?
So I had two heroes. I'm not a big guy of superstars, whatever, you know what I mean? But there was two guys that I looked up to. That was Mike Tyson and Marcus Malika.
Okay.
Easily the best of the best.
Well, that was going to be my next question because from the way you make it sound, you didn't really look to go into wrestling. Like, was that something that you were drawn to, or like you would like it to be? That's what my parents.
Yeah, Jesse, coming up as a kid, it's not like you and Bill were watching amateur wrestling on television.
No,
you're right.
No, so we were good at fighting, and this was just another form of fighting to us. I mean, for me, that's how it was. It just was easier.
What did you think about professional wrestling? Because we loved it.
Right.
We loved Hulk Hogan.
Right. Yeah.
Ric Flair.
I always knew it or heard that it was fake, so I liked it, but it wasn't. It
didn't do
fake.
anything for you.
It was fake.
Yeah. Didn't turn you. Well, certainly Kurt Angle.
No, he wasn't fake. Yeah.
Kurt Angle was him.
He was a bad dude.
Yeah, I love him.
And his brother was bad too.
Oh yeah.
His brother's a murderer.
Man, oh man. Kurt Angle was a bad boy, dude.
It's just amazing to me that I'm going to have to assume Bill had a chip on his shoulder. No?
No. Bill's laid back too.
That's crazy. You just look back at the 90s. From most people that I could go back and I could say, because most people in the 90s, I know you did, everybody had a chip on their shoulder. It was we're not going to get right. It's not going to happen. It's just.
The way Jesse views a chip and the way we do may be different.
Right, it may be different, and I just realized that because did I have a chip? Yeah, North Akron gave me a chip. When I came to your place, it was mine. Right. And then once I was done, then I give it fucking back.
Right.
But not until I fucking leave. You know what I mean?
Correct. So every time
whether that's a football field or a wrestling match or whatever.
Correct.
And so is that a chip? Yeah, that's probably a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. We would pull in. I can't speak for you because you're the 90-91 team, but we would pull in we assumed when we turned around and pulled up to your school, this is our school.
Right.
Like we're walking in and I'll speak for myself. When you kind of walk in a place, there's somebody standing there that has the same attitude you do. So now I'm seeking for him. Like, where's he at? You know what I mean? Like he's around here somewhere.
I'm sizing up everybody from the time that I arrive, and I'm looking for the exits too because there might be shit that pops off, and I got to find the exits.
Right. But that's just the way it was in '89.
For all intents and purposes. in my book, I claim that the 1990-91 Barberton basketball Magics didn't win state because I wasn't on the team.
No, I got you.
And I stand by that. We'll talk to your cousin Megan about that.
I remember.
But no, Jesse, bro, you and your brother, like I said this a little bit earlier. I really regret one thing looking back at life is I regret that me and Ben didn't get to spend more time with them. The time we spent with them was way too short. Way too short.
Hey, it was impactful though because I was thinking today. I was like, what was special about these cats? I don't know if you were as poor as us. So maybe that was the connection, but there was a serious connection then. You know what I mean? Because I just knew that was you. Yeah. I don't know why, but when
you're talking about you saw me on Facebook.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
I was like, that's this dude. I know. Yeah. And I don't know why I know him, but I fucking know him,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If I told this and was very honest, like I'd get emotional and I'd probably tear up. When I was going through a moment, when we spent the night with them, I didn't want to be at the Meeks house.
This is back when Bill's coming.
Yes, in the 80s. And we went to Bill and Jesse's place. And I'm telling you, I was having a rough time. And Bill took the time to come over and comfort me.
Yeah, he's like that.
Kid had a fucking big heart, dude. Right. He was a bad boy.
Right.
And that I regret not getting to grow up with those guys.
Well, what's crazy is how you two are sitting here talking now, and I'm the catalyst of actually finding out, being in the right place, meeting you. Because I was talking to him about getting some people come on, talking about MMA, wrestling, washing, and I was like, I got two guys that's going to come on. I hadn't dropped any names yet. Zeke, by chance, just goes, you talking about Denholms? And I said, as a matter of fact, I am. And then all of a sudden, when we stayed the night, I know him. He was over here. And I'm like, then I said to you about Zeke. And it's just funny how it all went.
That was really
It's
cool.
just funny how it all just goes down. 40 years later.
40 years. Yeah, 40 years, roughly.
40 years.
4 decades.
I was 8, I think.
Yeah,
believe I was
4 decades. Right
That's
now.
that's crazy.
It is. It really is. It's
small world.
Yeah.
Small world.
So, tell me about yourself for a second. You were in Haiti.
Yeah, I ended up out of the country. You just asked if we were poor too. We had both our parents. I would say we lived in a lower middle class neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't poor.
Okay.
But
we by no means had money.
And interestingly enough, you said I didn't care what color you were.
Right.
Well, growing up, I didn't like white kids.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
It is. And in my book, I talk about how that happened. But the only black person I knew was my mailman. His name was Mr. Leon Riggs. And he treated me with great love and kindness.
Right.
And he started my love affair with black people. Now, when we moved on the other side of town, when I ran into the Brapsons and some other white kids, that brought me back in kind of, with the white boys.
Right.
But I ended up in Haiti.
What you mean white boys? Everybody was white over there.
I ended up in the country of Haiti. It's a long story. I wrote a book about my life, but I was always an athlete. And I felt like I was cheated, that I never got to show the world how good I was. And like I said, I feel like the Barberton basketball 1990, 1991
should have won state title.
Should have won. And they didn't win. I make the claim because I wasn't playing. Right. Now, when I came home from prison in Haiti, I met a guy named Andre Travis, and meeting him, I had a chance to do some special things, push him in marathons, run with him in an Ironman triathlon, go to San Francisco and swim San Francisco Bay. I'm not a swimmer. I just swam it to fucking thumb my nose at everybody and say, I'm that fucking guy. Remember me?
Right.
Yeah. So, and I, Jesse, unlike you and your brother and Kobe Fair Jr., and you guys have class, and you're quiet and you're humble. Motherfucker, I wasn't that way. And neither were you. And neither were you. We had to talk shit, Jess. Because maybe it was insecurities that we always had. I don't know. But I wanted to let people know
I'm here.
I might not be the best, but I'm going to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. And I'm one of the toughest motherfuckers you'll ever cross. Right? And maybe there was something in there that me and Ben, when me and Ben were in Norfolk, Virginia, playing against all the black kids in basketball, we were the only 2 white kids in the gym. There's something about, I always tell this to folks. There are some white guys that you come across, that it doesn't matter if they're with Mexicans, blacks, it doesn't matter who they're with. They fit in on just immediately.
Right.
It's just, there's something in them. The Denholms are those guys. Right. The Petries are those guys.
Right.
The Brapsons are those guys. They're just certain white guys for whatever reason.
Right.
They blend in.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if I blend. I don't know if I blend. I wouldn't say I blend.
Maybe it's just a God thing. That God created us, and maybe He makes some of them white kids some. Because I always felt that the black kids and the kids from the ghetto were tougher than white kids.
Oh, I've always thought that too.
Yeah, they were hungry.
Hungry.
Hungry. Yeah.
Hey, you know, and I deal with that today with my own kids and training them and so forth is, you know, how comfortable do you make it for the kids? You don't want to cheat them the opportunity to be a success.
Right.
You know what I mean? And historically, the whites have coddled the whites, and so, you know, the blacks get no coddled, and so it is a tough race.
Well, like Jesse and I, you know, when we get in conversations, we talk about, you know, rather a chip or, you know, your mindset, because it really comes down to heart.
Right.
It really comes down when you're losing, and that's just that thing in you that takes over that says, I'm not losing it all. You know what I mean? You get that spark, and the next thing you know, there it is.
That ready to die for this shit.
Right.
You know, no
and
matter
I
what
think
it is.
that's where a lot of that comes from, because I'm not speaking for blacks or, you know, but I'm just saying that if you're coming from nothing, like when you were poor,
right,
and all of a sudden now you're dominating, somebody jumps on you, I think the first thing comes back to your mind is, I'm not going back there.
Right.
I'm going this way.
Right.
I'm not going back. And
Right.
that's that chip. Like I'm just not doing it.
Right.
And that's that heart that gives you that drive.
Yeah, it really is. And again, I remember Jesse and Bill coming to church the first time. I think the Meeks brought them. Like they said, they came with the Meeks. And me and Ben are all of a sudden...
They probably saved our souls.
I don't know.
Or brought us back.
When you guys walked in those doors that
Right.
day, I mean, me and Ben were taken aback by that. It was almost like we saw people who mirrored us, or,
Right.
you know, like,
Right.
okay, we like these guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
I can relate to that.
yeah,
The mirror.
yeah. Right. I really regret Bill's not here today.
Right. You know, hey, he was pissy today, and so we'll have to reschedule.
Well, listen, for people out there that are watching this, that if you don't know Bill and Jesse Denholm, you missed out. You're missing out. I can't. Are you both fathers? You're both fathers, right?
Yeah, my brother's got 3 daughters.
3 daughters? Isn't that something? Bill Denholm had 3 daughters.
What actually amazed me, before I knew he knew you, before we started talking, like when you pull him up, like I think we probably got 15 people that were common friends on Facebook, which I was kind of thrown back. I'm like, how does he know these people?
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. Now,
small world.
Bill's the same. Now I looked at Bill, I'm like, how do they know all these people in Barberton? Because you wasn't.
Bill's a little bit more outgoing than I am. So yeah, he's. I'm sure he's.
It's interesting Jesse says that, because I remember Jesse being the more bubbly of the two.
I was a wild child.
Yes.
I was the guy that should have been on Adderall.
Yeah.
Now I wish I had a script.
But no, you could really make a made-for-TV movie about these guys, the 2 brothers, Denholm brothers.
Right.
I mean, it would be fascinating, because they do have a great story. And again, they were from a broken home. I remember that. Right. I remember asking Bill questions. Bill was closer to my age than Jesse, and so I was closer to Bill the time I spent with them. And I just remember enjoying being around them, their company. I felt at home with them.
So when we were down here, I think this is 2nd Street or 5th or whatever street it was, we were doing that concrete a couple of years ago, and Charlie Reese was our inspector.
Yeah.
And that's really how we started coming ahead about how I started to figure out who Jesse knew, who he didn't, because I think, did he know you? Or was it just in conversation?
I'm going to take these earphones off.
Because even that night, he left, called Jason Moore, I think, if that's how it went down, asked, and when Charlie showed up the next day. Now, I'm not trying to put words in Jason's mouth. I'm only telling you what I had heard. But he had sat there and said about, Jay said that Bill Denholm's probably the baddest motherfucker he had ever seen.
Yeah.
That the Denholms are just tough kids. Yeah. And that's where it started for me, trying to figure out.
My brother was super tough. I'm not even the same. I could last maybe 30 seconds in a fight. as soon as I get stunned, I'm done. Because every time he stuns you, and it's like, God damn, what happened?
Right,
So,
right.
So it's hard to come back from that, and he's just that guy that man, if he touches you and he's going to touch you, yeah.
How much does Bill weigh now?
200.
200 pounds? He got that big, bro?
210, yeah.
Okay.
He's a little chubby right now.
Yeah, no, Bill was different. When he walked into the room, you knew somebody different had just walked in, much different than most people, just how he carried himself. And of course, Jesse, I always say my brother Ben was fortunate to have me as his big brother.
Right.
I was fortunate to have Bill.
Yeah,
and that got me everything in life, from women to definitely from women to accolades. It was because of my brother, without a doubt.
Well, I'll tell you what.
That's awesome that you say that.
That's the truth.
The Bill and Jesse Denholms, the Dan Kogars, the Kobe Fair Juniors, they all have certain qualities
and we all know each other, by the way.
Yeah.
See, which is crazy, and I'm not taking away from where we're at right now having this conversation, because you keep bringing up Kobe Fair Jr.
Yeah.
Your book's been written. Bill's book's been written.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Or it's Kobe's isn't.
No, he's far from done. He's just starting.
You're still in the introductions.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy.
He's got. I mean, he can't be 20. How old is he?
25.
Right.
I think Kobe's at least 27.
27.
But in that game, you can go 35.
Oh, yeah.
You're still fresh.
Oh, yeah.
You should be at least. But
well, the interesting thing about Kobe Fair Jr. is his mind. Like, he's worldly. Like he trains with foreigners. Like, he trains with guys from overseas. Like, he's now traveled overseas, and he sees the world in he just sees the world. You know how people call me a conspiracy theorist,
Right?
Kobe sees a lot of the world like I do, and me and him will text, and he gets it. Kobe Fair Jr. gets it, bro. Like,
really?
I don't know if he has a bigger fan than me, dude. I think I'm his biggest fan. I really do.
No, I get you.
Yeah, I really do.
Did he grow up in a broken home? Kobe Fair?
Yes, I think he did. I think his parents ended up not together. Yeah, because Jen North is his stepmother, and she's with Kobe. So his dad, Kobe Sr. Yeah, so he was in a broken home. Yeah, but at the end of the day,
now I can't speak on it.
And Kogar was.
I know
Kogar was.
I can't say whether his parents were close growing up or not close, but I know they were from the same city, so he was always being raised, I believe, in the same city.
Yeah,
is that correct? For Kobe Jr.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yep. But
yeah, the kid's got the potential to be.
Oh, no question. No question. And like I like to call Kobe worldly because he's in bed with world giants, bro. Like mentally, physically, spiritually. Like I think he's going to be a champion. Now I say that biased because I really love him and he's a Barberton kid, and so, but. I think his time's coming. I think he's preparing for that when opportunity knocks.
Well, I think his camp's out in Vegas still. He lives in Vegas, right?
Yes, lives in Vegas.
And I think he's still out there. Mm-hmm. I don't speak to him or text with him, but I mean, obviously, I'm friends with him on Facebook, so I see some of the things he posts, etc. Some of the places that that he's in his camp.
But again, something about Kobe and Jesse and Bill and Kogar and the rest of them. They don't talk a whole lot of shit. They really don't. They could talk more, and they just don't. So they don't self-promote. And Jesse said he wished he could be more like that because a lot of times a Bill Denholm or a Jesse Denholm, maybe they go farther if they're more of a self-promoter like a Muhammad Ali, somebody who's always telling everybody how great he is, and then going and backing it. You know,
sure.
Because you guys did that. You could back up anything. You just didn't talk as much.
Right.
Who was the guy that you was going to bring with you?
Mike Hurley.
Hurley was
he was. Mike's a real good friend of mine. He's the guy that started the neighborhood club, and he was a state champ at St. Vincent, 3-time finalist, runner-up, or not NCAA champ, but runner-up national champ. And he started up the neighborhood, I think, right around 7 years ago, give or take a couple years.
How old is Mike now?
Mike's, I think he's got to be pushing 40-ish.
Okay.
He's young. He's
young. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Well, he's young. He's young to us then.
And I think because he went to St. Vincent,
Yeah, yeah.
he knows LeBron.
So he graduated with LeBron at St. Vincent.
Okay.
And so that would make
LeBron's what, 36?
No, LeBron's
30,
about
30,
40.
yeah,
39,
he's
39, 40.
so he's got to be 40 years
going on
old.
40.
Okay,
I think
so-
LeBron turns 40 in December. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
So they're the same
I
age.
apologize. I forgot because I could care less how old he is.
Paul, hey, LeBron is Mount Rushmore great. Whether
Who's
you
Mount
like
Rushmore? It might be your-
no,
He
no,
is,
he
without
is.
a doubt.
No
He
question
is.
about it.
Hey,
Yeah.
nobody could have taken the teams that he took to the playoffs at Cleveland and done anything.
Yeah.
Not Jordan, not anybody.
If you have 4 basketball players, we're going to talk some basketball with Jesse, he's a wrestler. 4 basketball players on Mount Rushmore. I'm going to give you mine, and you give me yours.
Okay.
I got LeBron, Michael Jordan, Kobe, and no order, because Michael Jordan's the GOAT for me. And then the 4th one for me is Isaiah Lord Thomas III, because that's how I got my name Zeke. Those are my 4. Who's your 4?
Definitely, without a doubt, LeBron. Jordan probably 1. LeBron 1B, and then Kobe, and then the 4th. I don't know, man. Some of the old-time greats, they kind of deserve a little bit more credit than, I don't know.
Well, if you're
Delonte West.
I was going to say, Jesse, you're a dirty white boy. So Jesse kind of looks
Larry
like
Bird.
Delonte, doesn't he?
Right.
Hey, I think he only brought
kinda looks
Delonte
like
for
Delonte.
LeBron in his mouth.
Right.
That's why
Jesse
he
has a Delonte look, though.
That's why he threw that fucking playoff game. There ain't no doubt about it.
I was going to say you could throw in Pistol Pete, but who do you got? You're 4.
See, I don't know. I'm different. I can't put Kobe on, and the only reason I can't put Kobe on is because Kobe mirrored Michael. If you're looking to perfect something, it's Kobe Bryant perfecting Michael Jordan with a better shot,
Right.
and he was double jointed. He was such a mirror to Michael Jordan. So I got Kobe, Michael. To me, I'm saying LeBron, or not LeBron, Bird and Magic.
Okay.
And I'm putting Bird and Magic up there because if Bird and Magic doesn't come in and change the league in the early 80s, where's Jordan?
Right.
They completely changed the league from a fight. Nobody went. It was arguing. They changed the whole entire league.
Jesse, you had brought up Mike Tyson.
Right. Oh, you want to skip over? I don't have LeBron on mine, huh?
No. I just thought of this, and at 51, if I don't get it out, I'll forget 2 seconds later. I loved Evander Holyfield. And when Holyfield fought Tyson, the first fight,
Right.
Tyson had no answer for that.
No,
it was like Holyfield was that first, because Buster Douglas kind of Tyson was partying.
Right.
Tyson wasn't taking that serious.
No, he was partying.
But when Holyfield stood up to Tyson and he wasn't intimidated and didn't run, Tyson had no answer for him.
And
did you watch that? Were you watching that fight live?
I watched every fucking Tyson fight. The only one I missed was I got there right after he lost to Douglas, and I was devastated. That like they say, like the JFK moment in somebody's life.
Yeah.
Mine was that Tyson.
They fought in Japan. Wasn't that in Japan? Didn't they fight in Japan?
I'm not really sure.
I think it was overseas.
Right. I think it was. It was. So what was the question?
Holyfield.
Oh, yeah.
That first Tyson fight. That was one of the most happy nights of my life because I was a big Holyfield fan.
My best friend is Anthony Gary. Holyfield's is like 5th cousin.
Wow.
Maybe 6th.
Yeah.
7th, 8th, whatever. And so their genetic makeup, Anthony at 49 is as diesel as he was when he was 18.
Incredible.
Really?
So I mean, he's the only guy that I know that is steroid free and always been. But you would swear to God he's on steroids. The steroid guys would be like, that motherfucker's on steroids, and that he was steroid free.
It's just genetics.
His genetics were fucking phenomenal.
Did anyone ever talk to you, North Akron kids, about Michael Dokes?
Right. My dad. So my dad was a boxer, amongst other things.
Yeah.
And so
I remember Bill telling me that.
Yeah. So he always had us. Yeah, like local legends like Dokes, and there was this kid back in the 80s. What the fuck was his name? Real good kid too.
Not from Youngstown, not Boone.
No, he's from Akron. He should have been a world champion, and he got murdered. Whatever. I forget. It's been Been a long time. But, yeah.
How about George Jacobs? Do you remember Jacobs from Akron? Had a boxing club, Good Shepherd Boxing Club?
Yeah, I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah, he died prematurely, too.
A lot of good.
Yeah.
That guy did a lot of good for the community, man.
He sure did.
He really did.
I got to meet Michael Dokes and have a conversation with him. Talk about that in my book, too. But Dokes, you want to talk about a specimen. He could have been great, and he never took it seriously.
All these guys just partying, man. As soon as they get that Coke, it's over.
Women, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And he was incredible.
Gets them every time. The Coke
incredible.
And the hookers.
The crazy thing is we sit here and talk about this, and you can go to what's that court in New York called? That basketball.
Rucker?
They say
Rucker Park?
They say that there was the players that in Rucker Park that was drug dealers that did things, pimps that would have put NBA players to shame, but they just couldn't get off the drugs.
Right.
They couldn't stay off the streets and couldn't keep themselves in school. It would be a whole different ball game. Incredible. I had to bring basketball up again because of that.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, man. Like having guys like Jesse in here, where he can. You just look at him and you just see life. He's like a sponge and takes it all in and just sits there with a demeanor that's just calm, cool, and collected. Doesn't need to talk any mess, but you better not fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? Not only because he's a badass,
I'll call
but
my brother.
His big brother, Phil fucking Denholm.
That was always my go-to. I'll call my motherfucking brother.
Yeah, no, Bill was something else that, again, I can't say it enough. I can't speak for my brother Ben, but I regret not growing up with these guys and seeing them more. I felt cheated.
Right.
Sometimes in life you feel cheated. I felt cheated.
It's only fitting, though, that it's 180. It's a long 40 years is a long time to have another conversation.
It's interesting because I don't remember you having facial hair.
Right.
You were too young. Of course. When I walked up, I was kind of looking. I was like, that can't be Jesse. Facial hair when I saw him.
Shit.
How many kids do you have?
I got 4.
4 boys?
I got 2 girls, 2 boys.
2 girls, 2 boys. Do you raise them in a different manner, like being the girls?
Like a warrior.
Really?
Right.
Do you spank your girls?
No. I don't.
Jess, I get all kinds of grief for spanking my kids, but I gotta threaten them with the belt because if I don't, they'll run my ball. You
got to fucking instill that discipline. Hopefully at a young age, so you don't have to do it at an older age. You look at the kids in the sports. They gravitate towards that guy that's just the asshole. You know what I mean? So. We're inclined to accept a little discipline, and I believe that for a man you need to be fucking beat. You need to be in fear of your father, at least your father, because your mother, is you do whatever you want, right?
For sure.
But if you don't have that father figure that instills that fear, man, that's that. For sure. You look at the dynamics of the world today, and it's just that it's partly that.
But,
for sure.
But see, that's a good word, fear, because you don't want your kids to be scared of you. But they should fear you when they get to the point to where they did something you should be the first thing on like, oh shit.
Right, Dad's gonna fuck.
But they shouldn't be scared. They should be able to walk in. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Dad, be able to tell you what happened.
Well, the same thing with that, Paul, is I think we as humans have lost that healthy fear of Almighty God. In my opinion,
absolutely,
right,
absolutely.
My mom. Like Jesse was saying, well, your mom's mom's always going to love you and stuff. But my mom, even Bonnie Petrie,
right?
And I would call her like the next thing under, you had Mary, the mother of Jesus. My mom was right behind her in her sainthood, dealing with my dad. She had to get out a wooden spoon a couple of times on me and Ben. Like, really?
Right. Because I'm telling your dad when you come home was just too many times.
I think my mom was the harder of the paddle. But my dad had hands that he fucking light you up.
Hands of stone.
Oh, hands of stone. He was a concrete guy, so he just had these hands that were like an inch thick a piece, man. Smack the shit out of you.
Incredible.
That's
incredible.
Crazy.
We're going to have to do this again, bro. Like,
100%.
Hey, I would really like to bring Mike. So the reason that we were going to bring Mike on is that Mike had developed he's marketing a pair of shoes, and he had a guy in the Olympics that was projected to win it.
Yeah. This year in Paris.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. The guy blew out his knee 2 weeks before the Olympics. and so he wasn't able to market the shoe. So
Yeah. Wow.
I would like
Mike Hurley.
Hurley, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to have him on. And again,
Younger guy too.
Yeah.
So-
He's 40 years old.
well, send my greetings to your brother Bill, and tell Bill that I love both of you.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
I appreciate that, man, because I just think it's amazing that I've met a lot of cats, and in 40 years I remember you sticking out. You and your bro both just sticking out. Just the glow that you talk about, the aura.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was always a connection there, and it's cool to hear a little bit more.
Well, the feelings are mutual because you and your brother were probably the first time I ever stepped back and said, and these guys are white.
Right.
They were different.
Yeah, we
were different.
We had to be, bro. We didn't fit in nowhere.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
So real quick before we ever end up in this, give a shout out to your club, where it's at, what you guys do, and any kid. And I'm assuming you guys are still accepting kids to come in.
No,
you're not.
We shut it down for the year.
Okay.
But the club is called Neighborhood, and it's based in Portage Lakes. We do a free club as long as you work a couple of the outings, like the golf outing, and it's 100% paid for, 100%.
And
Nice.
you're coaching, you right? You
And I'm a coach, yeah.
Okay, that's
Who?
awesome.
How does somebody get a hold of you for the club?
234-352-9090.
And is that you?
That's me, Jesse. Yeah.
Okay.
But hey, I would love to. I really have a feeling that I'm going to pick up we have a chance to win a national championship in 4 years.
Wow.
And I believe that we're going to be able to pick up the heavier kids from Barberton.
Nice.
Not to intrude on Jason's route, but
Right.
Barberton is a hotbed for bigger kids, in my opinion.
Nice.
This has been fun. This has been a lot of fun.
If you notice, except for a couple of our podcasts, everything's that we do, to people that we bring in, is comfortable.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It just makes it for an easy podcast for conversation.
Great
because it's
conversation.
comfortable.
Great conversation. Great engage. We always bring people in that seem really engaging. Like Jesse's engaging. I know his brother Bill's engaging. We have people who are engaged and aren't afraid to get on camera. Listen, a lot. Remember how I always tell you, it ain't easy.
No, it's not.
And it ain't for everyone.
No.
It ain't
I
easy
got
to
a
get on
speech
camera and
impediment. I
talk.
was nervous as fuck to start this.
No.
thing. I was like, man, I ain't going to be able to speak at all.
Well, I'm telling you, Jess, a lot of people, they talk a lot of stuff, but when lights, camera, action,
Right.
and the cameras roll, and Josh says we're live.
I've never done, to come on a podcast. He spoke in front, speaks in
Right.
front of people, goes to schools. Him and Dre.
Yeah, it's an art.
I've never been in front of a camera or did
Right.
anything other than sports. Which when you're playing sports, you don't even know you're on a camera.
Right.
So I don't have anything in communications or talking.
Quietly behind closed doors, I've ripped his ass. I said, "You son of a bitch." Several years ago, when I wanted to do a podcast,
Which we did
he
do a
never
podcast.
said
Yeah,
he
didn't wanna do
financed the
it.
We
podcast,
did.
but never uttered a peep about being on it. And he's got a great voice
Right.
for it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I thought he
got
was
that.
like, "Bro, what are you doing? Like, are you sad on me all
No,
this time?"
this is cool. So what type of audience you guys have here? Any idea?
Well, we try to do something once a month, but we've been out. We've gone out. We're talking to some people about going places and kind of filming in different locations instead of
Right.
just sitting here in a studio.
Right.
Maybe go interview a wrestling coach at a wrestling venue where
Right.
you got
At the neighborhood
kids.
club.
Yeah,
That'd
stuff
be
like
sweet.
Right.
stuff
That'd be
like that. To me, people are going to want to watch.
Right.
You know?
And you guys need to get Mike. Mike's boys with LeBron, and he's got so many stories that he can't tell.
Yeah.
I like hands-on stuff.
Right.
So like if we could interview you on a mat where we can go around and we can see people,
Right.
takes it like to
We
me.
work out
it's
in
more
a
engaging.
dungeon, but there's a place to set up at. And stuff.
Yeah. You remember how we used to look at the wrestlers? We were there. My God, I'm glad we ain't them. They were running the steps, and we were in there just.
We'd be playing basketball, they're running.
Right.
We'd be like, what are you doing?
I always thought, like, what the fuck? Why do I got to run? I'm not a runner.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like the secret sauce of it all.
Yeah,
so.
who needs endurance?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Nobody needs
We were chilling,
Ask
just
Tyson.
hanging out in the back in the gym, and they were getting killed over there. Like, God, I'm glad I'm
Up
not
and
a-
down
glad I'm not a
steps, up at the
fucking
bear
wrestler.
crawl, up
Fuck
and down
that.
steps. We're sitting there dribbling, shooting 5 shots.
Life is good.
Unbelievable. Well,
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. This
Jess,
Jesse, it was a pleasure.
thank you so
It was
much,
a pleasure.
brother.
Oh, man.
It was a pleasure.
Josh, take us the hell out of here. Give us our music. God bless all of you. Paul, do you have one last thing to say?
Nope, I'm
Come on.
good. I'm
You
good.
run this.
Yeah,
you
nope, I'm
finance this. Get
No,
it.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Send
good.
them off. All right, Paul. God bless.
My time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my